Dear students, welcome to this discussion on communication electronics. Today we will be focusing on types of modulation. In particular, we will be discussing analog modulations. There are two kinds of modulations. One is an analog modulation, the other one is a digital modulation. We are keeping away the digital modulation right now, and we will be focusing on to analog modulation types. So let's see it in detail. So there are three parameters when you are considering a wave. The first parameter is obviously its amplitude, the second one is its frequency, and the third one is a phase. So when you are trying to communicate through long distance communication via modulation, we will be using either of these three parameters. We can use amplitude or frequency or phase to code or modulate our information of interest onto a particular high frequency signal. So I can code my information onto the amplitude of a particular wave, or to the frequency of the particular wave, or to the phase of the particular wave. So this is how the analog modulation is classified. You can classify the modulation scheme into amplitude modulation and to angle modulation. And angle modulation means whatever modulation we are doing onto the angle of this cosine. So this thing inside the bracket happens to be the angle of the cosine, and if you are playing with the angle of the cosine to modulate, then it is called angle modulation. And inside that, angle modulation is split into two. One is the frequency modulation, and the other one is the phase modulation. In the frequency modulation, you are coding your information into the angular frequency of your cosine wave, or in the case of phase modulation, you will be coding your information into the phase information of your wave. So in short, there are three modulations for analog modulation. The one is amplitude modulation, the second one is frequency modulation, and the third one is a phase modulation, as indicated here. Let's see more about the modulation. So in order to know more about this, we need to know the concept of frequency translation. So what is frequency translation? In frequency translation, we have to imagine two frequencies, two signals. One is the message signal, the information that we need to pass to somebody else. And the second one is a carrier signal, the signal which transmits our information, which carries our information to the other guy. So that one is represented by SM, the message signal, and the carrier is represented by SC. And we are going to multiply these two signals. So I am multiplying these two signals, and in this step I will be taking the amplitudes to one side, and conveniently the cosines are multiplied using the formula, and you get two terms. One is a sum term, and the other one is a difference term for frequencies. And I multiply back the constants of the equation SC0 and SM0 by 2 inside the terms, and I get two terms. One is SC0 SM0 by 2. I can call it as Sn, and cos omega c plus omega m, where omega c plus omega m I will be calling as omega n1 into t, plus the second term is SE0 into SM0 by 2. It is similar to the first term. I can call it as Sn itself, and then cos omega c minus omega m into t, and omega c minus omega m I can call it as omega n2. So this is a difference frequency. This one is called a sum frequency. Omega n1 is our sum frequency. Omega n2 is called a difference frequency. And basically what happened when we multiply two cosines is that I got two signals. I got two signals superposed with each other. One is a sum frequency term, omega with omega n1 frequency, and the other one is a difference frequency term with the frequency omega n2. Okay, so we have two frequencies like this, two signals. So this is a superposition of two signals because you have a plus sign here. It is a superposition of two signals, and this wave is called our frequency translated wave. Okay, and now let's see what is the frequencies that is residing in these waves. Let's consider two frequencies. One frequency I would write as our message signal, which is equal to say 10 hertz. That's my message signal. and I need to calculate what is the energy residing inside this message signal. So I'll designate that as EM, and EM is equal to Planck's constant times FM. So I can substitute 6.626 times 10 raised to minus 34 and times 10 hertz. Similarly, our carrier frequency, let it be like 1 megahertz, and then my energy due to the carrier frequency, energy residing inside the carrier frequency, that is equal to Planck's constant times the frequency, which is 6.626 times 10 to the power minus 34 times 1 megahertz. 1 megahertz is written as 1 into 10 raised to 6. Then what I get after calculating this expression is 66.26 times 10 to the power minus 34 joule, and in this case this will be like 6626000 times 10 to the power minus 34 joules. Okay, so you can see that in this case the energy is much higher in the carrier frequency, and in the energy of the message signal is much smaller than the energy in the carrier frequency. And when we frequency translate the message signal to the range of the carrier signal, then what is happening is that the energy of this will increase. So the message gets pumped with energy. Okay, so that's what we are going to evaluate. We have seen that we have two frequencies. One is an omega n1 represented by omega c plus omega m. The other one is omega n2 represented by omega c minus omega m. That can be calculated. The energy in that can be calculated. Thus, our omega n1, that is Fn1, in linear frequency terms, Fn1 is equal to some frequency, that is Fc plus Fm, which is equal to 1 megahertz can be expanded like this, 6 zeros plus 10. Then here I will be writing Fn2, the difference frequency, Fn2, which is equal to carrier frequency minus the modulating frequency. Thus 1 followed by 6 zeros minus 10, and this gives us 1 0 0 0 0 0 sorry 0 1 0. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That much hertz, and this one is given by 9 9 9 9 9 0, right? That much hertz. Thus the energy inside the sum frequency En1 is given by h times Fn1, that is 6.626 times 10 to the power minus 34 times Fn1. Fn1 I can substitute directly, so I'll be writing 3 4 zeros followed by 1 0. Okay, and this is given by 6.626 times 10 to the power minus 34 joule, and in this case this is given by 6625,933.74 times 10 to the power minus 34 joules. Thus, we can see that effectively after frequency translation, we have taken the energy of the message signal and translated it to the range of the carrier's energy. See, the carrier's energy is like this. So I'll put it like this. This is the carrier's energy. And when you're transmitting, your message happens to be frequency translated and the energy happens to be residing inside our upper and lower sidebands, and those frequencies are indicated here. So these are the frequencies, this is the energy, these are the frequencies through which your message is transmitted, and the energy of those frequencies is given by these two numbers times 10 to the minus 34. That is always true. Okay, let's consider a multiplier where you have a box into which you can give two inputs. One is your message signal, the other one is a carrier signal. So when you give these two signals, it gets multiplied inside this multiplier and you get the frequency translated output. Okay. So let's consider plotting that output and input inside on a spectral chart. So this is a chart where you have omega frequency on x-axis and amplitude on y-axis. Suppose I am going to transmit three signals. Previously it was just one signal. Now I am going to transmit three signals. One is obviously our omega m. The second one is omega m1, another frequency which is higher than omega m. The third one is omega m2, that is a lower frequency which is lower than omega m. So there are three frequencies that I am going to transmit, and our input consists of these blue lines. One corresponds to these three, the other one corresponds to this one. So this is SM corresponds to these three signals, and SC corresponds to the carrier wave. So the multiplier takes in two signals. One is of SM and one is due to SC. So this is SC and this is SM. All these three are SM. Okay. SM contains three components: omega m, omega m1, and omega m2. Okay. So when you multiply these three things, then what happens is that you get three components for the upper side as well as three components for the lower side. These three frequencies are called sum frequencies. These three frequencies are called lower frequencies. The red color lines are representing the output of our multiplier. That is the frequency translated signal. So the input is blue color and the output is red color. So our output of multiplier is representing our frequency translated signal. It consists of sum frequencies and difference frequencies. So the middle one, this one is called omega n1, our previous notation, that represents the component due to omega m, that is omega c plus omega m, and omega n2, that represents omega c minus omega m, and the other components which is lying above and below the omega n2 as well as omega n1, those represents the components due to this omega m1 and omega m2. See, there is omega, this one is omega c minus omega m2, this one is omega c plus omega m2, this one is omega c plus omega n1, this one is omega c minus omega m1. So all these frequencies are lying on both sides of a carrier frequency. But in the case of a frequency translated signal, we are not getting a carrier signal at the output. We are only getting the sum frequencies and the difference frequencies at the output. Okay. So this is the peculiarity of a frequency translated signal. Our information which was inside this baseband signal here, that has been translated to a high frequency signal. So obviously the energy content of the signal will increase and the antenna size, everything improves. And you can see that in order to transmit this information, you need to transmit all these things, all these spectral signatures, all these red colored lines. So the required bandwidth is defined like this frequency minus this frequency. So the entire spectrum starting from this frequency, that is omega c minus omega m1, to this frequency, that is omega c plus omega m1, that much frequencies should be transmitted. So that happens to be the highest frequency in our baseband signal, omega m1. So corresponding to that highest frequency, we should check what is the bandwidth. So you can say that bandwidth of a frequency translated signal is defined by 2 times omega m max. In our case, the omega m max represented by omega m1. So this represents our omega m max. So that is being transmitted. Okay. So this is the bandwidth that is required for transmission. Okay. So that's it. We'll stop here and have a break and come back with the other sessions. Thank you.